Okay, morning everyone. Welcome to the briefing on Friday, the 4th of November. Okay, so certainly had some rain over the last few days, and it's quite a refreshing sight to see on the chart. A small ridge of high pressure, although it's, by the looks of it, only a brief interlude, as you can see what's coming out on the charts here. So what do we got? This is building high over the course of the day, bringing in light northwesterly winds, light-ish, sort of 10 knots on the ground, but a bit breezier at flying heights, as you'll see. And very little change in wind direction until we get to very late afternoon, early evening, where it starts to swing round a little bit more to the west. And then overnight, swinging southwesterly as these next weather fronts come in for tomorrow, as you can see on the chart for midday tomorrow. Warm front and then a cold front following on behind it, if it hasn't caught it up by that particular point. So TAFs today, as you can probably see, fairly short, which is good news. 328 knots. Yeah, I think more like about 10 knots on other forecasts that I've seen, and that's for most of the day. They're saying until 1800 hours, and they're giving few at 1500 feet. I can sort of see why they're small amounts of okay, there may well be small amounts of cumulus that appear from time to time in the morning, but I think the general forecast is blue, and you'll see that because I've looked at the ascents, and I'll show you those what I'm thinking there. And 10k viz from early this morning, so good viz day with the front going through last night. Upper winds, as you can see, 340, 20 knots down to the south of us, and 310, 320 to the north of us, so somewhere in between the two, really. 320 would be about right, I think, and 20 knots at flying height, so fairly brisk from the northwest. Certainly a good forecast for wave in Wales today, though the satpic doesn't particularly show any lenticular clouds. Satpic, well, pretty clear at the moment. This is the rain that went through last night. And then we've got another trough line here. But in the last hour or so, I've been watching the rainfall radar, and it's just dissipating. And I think that will disappear almost. There won't be much left of it. It might be some of the remnants of cumulus that form on this later in the morning as it comes towards us. Temperature wise, this feels like a change from the last month or so. We're into a northwesterly cooler air mass. It's not coming down right from the north, as you can see. It's curving round from the south, so it's not really Arctic air, but it's still going to be quite a bit colder than we're used to. 10-11 degrees seems to be about right. And just playing with some soundings, this is the actual sounding, also the predicted sounding for Lasham. Best I can get out of this, looking at the current dew points and where they're likely to go, and that particular sounding is 2,200, 2,300 feet above Lasham. That's being optimistic with sort of 12 degrees. And then if you look at the actual, you can see it shows, this is obviously at 6 o'clock this morning. It shows quite a strong inversion, and any thermals are going to sort of bump into that if it's 12 degrees, and that's sort of 700 meters. So again, about 2,000 feet. Now, Top Meteo are being a little bit more optimistic on that. there's their predicted cloud amounts at 10 o'clock in the morning. They're showing cloud up through here, which is probably the remnants of that trough line. And that then moves towards us, but never quite reaches us. Maybe little bits of cumulus here. I think we will see some cumulus, maybe a bit more than 1,500 feet, hopefully. And that's by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's starting to fizzle out. Thermals, top meteo suggesting I think by 11 to 12 o'clock, they were suggesting it's starting to actually work, and up to 1,000 meters, or maybe slightly less around the Lasham area. If that's 1,000 meters above sea level, then yeah, probably about right, 2,000, 2,200 feet at best, and only lasts a couple of hours. By 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's beginning to die off because the sun is a fairly low angle at this time of year. So yeah, chance of some local soaring, certainly for a short period from lunchtime onwards, I suspect. But a bit challenging in the sort of 20 knots of northwesterly drifting away from the airfield. I suspect the thermals will be fairly weak and broken. But yeah, worth getting out and flying, folks. Okay, so that hopefully covers the weather for today. Airspace wise, around Lasham and our area here, nothing much going on. These little dots within all the airspace, no timed firework displays. And I'm sure tomorrow on the 5th, they'll be everywhere. Paragliding, they've notamed that they'll be out and flying on the northwesterly facing ridges. And the only thing that really has popped up, but it's really no relevance to us, but I will brief on it anyway, is the temporary CTA and CTR for a roll flight out of Kemble for this afternoon, and that runs from 16:10 to 17:30. Obviously, one of the Royals flying out of there, heading north by the looks of it. That's the airways join up here. And that really is about it. There's nothing else going on that I can see. Going to talk briefly about operations. The field is a little bit soggy. So what our plan is to start off with an operation on the intersection here on the main runway with the launch point vehicle just south of the centre line. Winch launching, the gliders will be on the north side of the centre line, and cables will be towed down the north side on the boom. And that'll be the idea being that we can then land on the runway to save the grass. So southerly circuits, land on the runway. Northerly circuits, you land on the grass. This avoids mirrored circuits, so the same landing area, and should deconflict us. We'll look at that, and then we'll keep an eye on the grass and take a view as to whether we can move the operation back to the normal place, but still stay on the runway and just land on the grass both sides later on. Hopefully it will dry out fairly quickly. So that's the setup for this morning. Hopefully that'll all work, and you'll have a nice day's flying. All right, I'll see you out there.